So hi everybody, Craig Hanson here and welcome to my video. We're going to check out Ben Hogan, and I have a couple of great camera shots here from still camera positions, so we're able to draw a few lines and get in there and really analyse his swing. Perhaps the best ball striker of all time. A lot of people say that he is or was. Okay, what we'll do first of all, I just want you to have a look at the line on the top of his head and the line on from his behind that I've drawn down into the ground. And before we get right in there and have a look at it, we'll just see that first move that he does in his backswing. You'll see how much the head's lowered and how deep that the right hip is headed back in this direction. So okay, let's get in there and have a little bit of a closer look at it. Now, the first move that he's got on the way back, you'll see that his hands go slightly inwards and the head lowers actually immediately. Right hip and head lowering. You'll see that often by many of the top players, that they'll actually sit back a little bit and that right hip will deepen. The club sets itself up through the right forearm and stays parallel to the original shaft plane, and by the time he gets up to the top of his swing, he'll have more compression down into the ground and the right hip's gone back even deeper into here. Now from here you'll see that the right arm is pointing pretty much straight down. The left arm is slightly lower than the original shaft plane, with the club having a slight laid off effect into this position here. Now from here, a lot of people have spoken about Hogan Secret, where he actually will flatten the plane again and lower a little bit more with his head. You'll see that the shaft position from here will actually flatten into this position here, and when you have a look at the right arm, the right arm will tend to come in this direction, the right elbow moving inwards and underneath the hands, and that's probably one of the reasons he was able to flatten the plane so much so early. Now the head's lowered again, right hip stays back as he's coming into impact. One of the areas here, we'll just drop another line there on the top of his head, is what fascinates me is from here, we've probably got 0.2 seconds from the top of the swing to impact, and from here we've probably got even less, is that from here we see a little bit of the left knee, like we do by so many great players in this position, but actually how far that he opens his legs up from this position here into impact is quite phenomenal. Head's lowered again, so make sure you just drop a line on there like that. Now you'll see that anytime if you can bring the club back, which is really, really difficult to do, if you see so many of the greatest hitters of all time have returned back to the original shaft plane of impact. And this picture here, Hogan's actually slightly underneath it. Now he'd like to slightly fade the ball, they said. You can see that how far the club exits around the left and how much his hips stayed back and deepened, and how much that his head has lowered down and into the shot. I mean, there's a few people that talk about his head lowering, but it's not actually something that everyone seems to be fascinated with his right arm position. But looking at so many of the great ball strikers of all time, Lee Trevino and Ben Hogan and so many more, nearly all of them lower their heads to a considerable degree in their swing. The club will exit round a really long way around to the left as he opens up his head and chest and into his finished position. Now we just check out this ball flight for a second here. Heading out into this direction. Here, hang on a second, we'll just get this. I think it's heading out sort of this way. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but I mean, that must be an amazing feeling to hit a golf ball that good. Look at the flight on that thing. We can all dream. Right, well, we'll head into this position here. We'll head into this swing here, and we'll just have a little bit of a look at the amount of lateral movement that he had into impact. Now you'll see here, I'll draw a line up the top of his head here, you'll see a definite push and lowering into this left leg. And actually as he gets into impact, he's actually got 3/4 of his leg there through the line or through the wall, and a good part of his shoulder. And it's a little bit tricky, but I mean, if we'd have an extension from his right hand there, you can see that the club head's in this area here, as it's blurred. So he's definitely sort of compressed it and had a line of compression, as they say, through impact. Almost looks like he's released it slightly up and under. And it's one hell of a golf swing. One of the things that's not often spoken about is, I mean, the ability that this guy's body, he could really bend himself into some unbelievable positions. If you have a look at this impact position here, down into the 40-degree area, I've only seen that with a couple of others. Lee Trevino had it. I mean, if you're going to get a wide stance, you're going to get some low numbers, but the right arm staying straight. So much for keeping your head down, though. Look at that thing go. Well, there you go. Ben Hogan. What a golf swing. Hope you enjoyed it.